Welcome to the June 2023 Brunch and Learn with Community Action. We're really excited. This month, we're going to be featuring our Energy and Utility Assistance Program. The theme is What's Hot this summer and how to get free air conditioning and energy and utility assistance. What is our Brunch and Learn? So once a month, Community Action puts on these 1-hour workshops. And it's a way for us to talk about a large community need, what we're doing as a community better together than we can as separate organizations, what the collaborations and partnerships are to address that community need. And then we do a deep dive into what is Community Action's role in that anti-poverty solution. And that is usually looking at one or more of our own programs. And so we're excited today to have Misty Velasquez from our Energy Assistance Program and Deborah as well. And we're going to hear from them about this important community resource that can really stretch the dollars in a household. So I'm going to share my screen. And one of the things that we do in these Brunch and Learns is we try to remind our partners and our own staff and our volunteers, interested community members, that none of us know all of the resources out there in the community, but we do try to pull them all together and have a way for folks to find that, and that is through the Community Action website. I'm going to ask Isabella to drop that URL into the chat. And you'll notice that Isabella organized the website here. I'm looking for, and it's by type of community need. So food resources, urgent needs, basic needs, outreach services, energy assistance, and all of our utility assistance. You can find it a couple of different ways. Sometimes people have the question, how can I get help paying bills? And so that's one pathway into our energy and utility assistance information. And then we have it listed out on its own there as well. We've also got housing resources, resources for children and families, seniors and disabled, veterans, adult education, tax help and credit, and job skills, and then of course services in East County. Community Action now has 3 front doors of community resource centers, one in Concrete, one in Mount Vernon, one in Anacortes, and of course our energy assistance program, Vets Connect, and some other programs are in Burlington as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to get started by asking Misty just to give us a little bit of an idea about what is the need for energy and utility assistance in our community. How many folks does your program serve every year? I think you talk about households and not individuals, right?
Yeah, we serve households, and we currently this year we have served almost 1,700 households. Where our goal for the year is about 2,200 per year.
And when you're talking year, of course, all of these programs that have any kind of government funding are on weird calendars. So what is your program year?
Our program year is October 1st through September 30th.
Okay. And I'm going to share the screen again to look at who qualifies. So before I do that, why don't I just ask you, what are the situations that people are in when they call or make an appointment with energy assistance? What's a typical, or what is a client situation that you've seen?
Well, we have a whole range of situations that people come in. Some of them have just not been able to pay their bill due to financial reasons. They've lost their job, or they've their rent takes up more money than they make, and they're trying to find ways to pay their bills. And so you just have to be income eligible, and they can come in. You don't have to owe a bill. Some people are in the middle of being disconnected and they reach out to us to try and get help, but that is definitely not a requirement. And we can serve any person who reaches out to us that is just income eligible for our program.
We're going to look at those income guidelines together in just a minute, but I think I just want to take a time out and have you say this again. So I don't have to have a disconnect notice to get energy assistance.
No, you don't even have to owe a bill.
So I could have $0 owed on my bill and I could still qualify. Well, how does that work then? Does it show up as a credit or something?
Yeah, it shows up as a credit on your account, and it can sit there for as long as it takes for you to use that money. Your bill could be $35 a month and you could qualify for $300 credit, depending on
Wow.
your income and how much energy you use. So it just sits there until it's gone.
All right, so this is a big takeaway for everyone who's listening today. One of the things that we ask at the end, we always end with what you can do, and we're going to start with what you can do. So what you can do is make a referral. So we're going to look at these income guidelines in a second, but we don't have to wait until a family that we're working with has a disconnect notice or the lights go off. We can be making referrals into this program for folks all of the time, because one cycle a year, they could qualify for a number of different programs. Now, the other big takeaway that we want everybody to understand today is we're going to look at qualifications. We're going to be talking about some programs that have silly government names on them. There's a whole bunch of them. But we don't have to remember all of the details, right? We just need to make sure that we get a referral to Misty's program. So what happens, Misty, if I call, if I'm not sure if I qualify, or I'm working with a client and I'm helping them make a call, if they call, just walk me through what happens. What's the process for somebody in finding out whether or not they might qualify for one of these many different programs?
So a person's going to call our phone number or go online and schedule through our online website. They're going to be asked some basic questions. How many people live in your home? What your monthly total gross income is, where that income comes from. And then we are going to decide at that point if you qualify income wise for any of our programs. You don't have to know what program you want to qualify for. We're just going to look at everything, and you're going to get everything you qualify for. So if a person qualifies for LIHEAP, they are automatically qualify for our PSE help program. They automatically, if they have gas in their home, qualify for our WEEF program. And we're going to serve everyone with every program that we have available to them. It's not a pick and choose.
So as if I'm a caseworker or a care coordinator, I don't have to know for sure that somebody qualifies before I make the referral. And the individual, the client or the household that I'm working with, they don't have to know whether or not they qualify. So we can get an idea by coming to this website. And I'm going to ask Isabella to throw that URL in the chat. But you can schedule an appointment online through this portal, right?
Yep.
So I click on that, and that actually isn't a community action website. That goes to PSE's website. Tell me about what happens here.
So this is where, in order to schedule, you're going to go down. This tells you what kind of documents the client needs to have when they come to their appointment. But if you go to step 3 and you hit apply or get started, you're going to go to a page where instead of signing in, this is the client has access to their account, like they have a username and a password to get into their actual account with PSE, you can do that with them. But if not, you can continue as a guest. So if you don't know their information, which most of us are not going to know a person's login information, and we don't want you to. So you're going to sign in as a guest. You're going to put in their account number and their zip code. Hit I'm not a robot, and you're going to hit submit. And this is going to take you, you're going to have to do that little thing. But if you had their information in there, it's going to take you to a page that's basically going to ask them how many people live in their home, what their gross income is. And as long as they are eligible for if you go hit the income guideline there up top. Oh yeah, down below. Okay. As long as they are eligible for the Cascade Natural Gas and Puget Sound Energy numbers in there, it's going to let you schedule an appointment. Now, if a person makes more money than what this says for a household, say a household of 4, and they make more money than $5,742, it's not going to allow them to schedule an appointment, but it's going to give them a phone number to call, which is our phone number, so they can actually talk to an individual for us to be able to look a little bit more deeply in their income with them and determine if we can take any deductions off of their income.
So this is a really important point. People may sign up or make an appointment to work with your team by going through the PSE website. However, if it appears that they've got too high of an income, they're going to be told to call. Also, people can just call right away. They don't have to go through the PSE website, right? This phone number goes straight to you all, and they can skip that. So if we're working with somebody who maybe doesn't have internet access or isn't comfortable with that. And again, if they don't know if they qualify, they might think, oh, well, my income is over. We should probably just have them call you anyway.
Yes.
What kinds of things qualify, or what kinds of things are deductions? So I might think that I make too much money. I'm a household of 4, I make $6,000 a month, so I don't qualify. What types of things does your team look for that might help reduce that number?
So anyone who works gets immediately off of their gross income, 20% taken off of their gross income. And that can deduct, that'll make that amount go down. So we look at that right away. If they are self-employed, they get an immediate 50% taken off of their income that comes into their business, because we're not going to look at their deductions. We're just going to do an immediate 50% deduction. So that's another thing. If they're a veteran, we don't count their veteran income at all. It is non-countable income. We want to know about it because we have to report it that they are a veteran and do receive income, but we don't count it as part of their household income. Trying to think of what else we take a deduction on.
And here again, we don't have to know every detail, because the point is that I might look at this and say, okay, 4 people, $5,742. But if one person in the household is working, you take an automatic 20% off of that. So more people will qualify than they even think. Yes. that might qualify. So the main takeaway is make the referral, get them to talk to your folks. And I'm going to just talk a little bit more about who qualifies. So let's look at these numbers again. And because there's so many programs, there's different numbers on here, but we always kind of start with the highest income threshold. So Cascade Natural Gas and Puget Sound Energy help programs. Again, a household of 4 can make up to $5,742 a month. And there's all of these lists of documents, photo ID, social security card, proof of all income, proof of physical address, a heating bill, 12-month heating usage for propane or heating oil customers, water and sewer bills, if that's what we're looking at. What if I don't have a social security card, or what if somebody in the household is not a citizen? Is there help available for people who don't have social security cards?
Yes, we have many programs, multiple programs. Not all of them have requirements regarding social security cards. The one that does is the federal program. And as long as there is someone in the home that has a social security card, you may qualify depending on income and how many people live in the home. We will look at all of that. Shouldn't be a deterrent for someone to apply, because they will still qualify for our Puget Sound Energy help and our Cascade Natural Gas help if they have Cascade Natural Gas in their home. And we look at all aspects of all of it and determine what a person qualifies for. So it shouldn't be a deterrent for somebody to come in and just let us know we don't have a social security card. Great. We will look for every program we can help you with. And another thing to let them know, we don't report to anybody that our clients do not have Social Security cards. So they don't have to be worry about it being reported to ICE or being reported to any other thing that may get that individual in trouble or get them in any kind of system anywhere. It does go into our state system, but LIHEAP does not take that information and go anywhere with it. It just sits in the state's database. And it's not accessed by any other organization out there. I can't hear you, Liz.
Let's talk
Oh, there
about
we go.
what folks can actually get. So you screen for all of these different programs. So energy and utility assistance, I think we all kind of remember that's Cascade Natural Gas, Puget Sound Energy. What else? What are other utilities that may be covered depending on what utilities that household uses?
So people who heat with oil or wood or propane can get help with our heating source along with the Puget Sound Energy and Cascade Natural Gas. We also help with water and sewer bills only until September 30th of this year. Unfortunately, the federal government did not renew their water and sewer program for the next coming year, but we are working on getting that back into the program for the season after. But there will be a season where we do not, next season, we will not have water and sewer. So very important to get our customers in by the end of this year.
Okay, so that's another big takeaway today is that that if we've got folks who are struggling to pay their water and sewer bills, they should get a hold of you soon because that program is going away in September. And is that similar where do people have to be in arrears or is it also a credit?
People have to owe a bill. It is not a credit. They just have to owe a bill. They don't have to be risk of being disconnected, just owing a bill.
So I could have $10 on my water or sewer bill and you'd be able to see if I qualify to help with that.
Yes.
What else does your team do? So, you look to see across all of these different programs for utilities, what folks might qualify for. But I understand that you're also helping people reduce their bills by coaching them on energy efficiency. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, we talk about how to reduce your energy usage in your home with our clients. So everybody will have a conversation with how they're using their energy in their home. We have some tips and things that go out with our clients. We give out some light bulbs, the LED light bulbs. We try to have some other energy efficient items on hand that we can hand out to clients to use in their home as well. We also currently people who qualify for our LIHEAP program can also qualify for an air conditioning unit.
Get out. So not only are we helping to pay people's utility bills, but people are also able to get an air conditioner. Tell us about this program. So that means that if anybody has qualified for LIHEAP in this last season, how does that work? Do they have to come in and apply for an air conditioner separately or?
So if they haven't already been asked and sign a form that they want an air conditioning unit, then yep, they come back in, they let us know they've already been served, but they want to get an air conditioning unit. And we have a small little form that just basically tells them some regulations regarding it, like what we're responsible for, what we're not responsible for in their home when they use it, how it will be ordered, things like that. It comes directly to the client through Amazon. We order all of them through Amazon, so it's delivered right to their home. It can take a few weeks for ordering and delivery. And the cost of them can be anywhere. We're buying ones that are anywhere from $400 to $600 a unit, and it is theirs to keep. They are freestanding, so they stand alone in your home. with a little hose that attaches to a piece that connects to your window. And it's not anything that you have to screw in. It just sits in your window and you shut your window up to this little plastic piece. And the hose is attached to that and it goes outside. And so pretty much anyone can use them in your home. They are a little large, so storing them for the winter, you have to, you'll have to store them yourself, but
So how
yeah.
many of these air conditioning units has Community Action gotten into client homes?
In the last 2 years since we have been giving them out, we've given out almost 1,030 air conditioning units.
Wow, incredible. All right, we're going to step back for a minute. We got some good questions in the RSVP form and also in the chat. One of the questions is, are resources, are other resources considered for programs or just monthly gross income? So like say people are getting other types of benefits, what's counted and what's not counted? And again, the takeaway message is, when in doubt, just send folks to energy assistance and they'll figure it out. People don't have to pre-qualify themselves. So, but what are some of those things that do count or don't count?
If a person is getting housing assistance through any kind of organization, we don't count that as income. That's not counted as part of their income. We don't count SNAP benefits as income. We do count TANF as income. So if a person's on TANF, that does count as their income. So GAU is counted as income. L&I is counted as income. Child support is counted as income. So there are lots of income sources. Anything that puts money into that client's actual household for them to use, that is counted as income. If it is paid directly to a landlord type of thing through a program, is not income.
All right, well, let's say I'm working with a very low income senior. They just get Social Security and it's really not very much income. But they do have some assets. They've got some money in the bank. Do you count the assets they have or just income?
Just income that comes in during that month.
And is this available for renters and homeowners?
It is.
Well, now, I know that we were talking about this 80% AMI program. There's something happening. Is this a change, something new?
Yeah, so as of October 1st this year, there will be through Puget Sound Energy and Cascade Natural Gas, they will have a rate discount program that they will be doing through their organization, through the utility. And the client will be going on, they will be talking or submitting a small application online or over the phone, however they choose to apply, letting them tell them what their income is, and then they're going to be put on a tier of a percentage off of their utility bill. There is a percentage of individuals who apply. It is all self-attestation on their income at that point, but there is a percentage of people who apply each month that will be audited the next month. So where they have to actually submit all of their documentation to us at Community Action, and we will be in touch with them. And that is to make sure that there isn't any fraud happening with the program.
So just to clarify, the big news here is that more people than ever are going to qualify for some help. And they're not going to have to turn in a whole bunch of paperwork. They do a self-attestation, and a few of them will get asked for that paperwork, but it's going to simplify the process for more people to be able to access these resources. So I'm just going to take a pause here because we've got some good questions. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Somebody asked about flyers. While I'm showing this, Misty, one of the questions was, is there anything that might pre-qualify somebody? Like if a family already qualifies for free and reduced lunch or something along those lines, does that pre-qualify them?
It does not pre-qualify them, but it probably would they would probably qualify for our programs because our programs have a higher income threshold, some of them, than the reduced and free lunch does.
So they're going to have to apply, but basically every family we're working with that qualifies for free and reduced lunch should be a referral, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So every family that's getting free and reduced lunch could probably qualify. So that's the key takeaway. When referring folks to community action, always say probably and maybe, because we still have to do the screening process and make sure that it's all legit. We don't want to make promises we can't keep. But I'm going to show now the website for how to make those referrals. So one way to make that referral is to sit down with the person you're serving and call this phone number, or to give them this URL on the website. But somebody asked, hey, do you have a flyer? Well, in fact, Josh Ruff at Community Action made a beautiful flyer for energy assistance, and it's right here on the energy assistance page. You go to the flyers and download. And this takes you to a page that has all of our program flyers. So this is where, so for example, the Community Action Services overview, the general information and referral flyer in our resource centers listed there is on there. I can also scroll down and look at programs right here, energy and utility assistance. And it's a two-sided one where if you print it off two-sided, you've got English on one side and you've got Spanish on the other. And so you could be printing these off and putting them in kids' backpacks or in those food boxes that are going out the door to households. This energy assistance flyer, you can give out, you can attach it to your email newsletters that goes to your tenants. So thank you, Josh, for getting these lovely flyers together. And again, that can be downloaded from the Community Action website, from the energy assistance page, or you can go to programs and just go to download our program flyers and see the whole page right there. So before we go on, we have some other questions we got in the registration, but I do want to have Debbie, will you please introduce yourself? And I'd like, you know, we're talking about a lot of numbers here, but we want to hear some more about the real impact in people's lives. Can you tell us who you are, what you do at Community Action, and maybe an example or two of how this has made a difference for folks?
Of course. My name is Debbie Hill, and I'm the energy program coordinator here in our department. And wow, share a story. I could share numerous stories. I had one just recently last week, and I actually cried on the phone with the lady. I didn't mean to, but it was pretty moving. She called because she became a widow a year ago, and she was crying because her husband's VA income wasn't enough to cover her rent and gas and food and everything. So she was her bill, she was getting ready for disconnect. So we were able to stop that and assist her right away. But I think probably what she said to me moved me more than anything. And she said, do you know how hard it is to be a widow? And when she said that, I just, I began to think about my own life. I thought, what would I do if I lost my own husband? And she just began to cry. The good news is that VA income, even though she was a spouse of one of our heroes, we did not have to count the income. He was deceased, but we still didn't have to count the income. We were able to give her the maximum on everything we had to offer, which I believe in hindsight, and I'm thinking here, she was past due almost $2,000. We were able to bring that down to zero, plus give her a $2,000 credit on her PSE bill. And when she came in the next day, because I took her right away, I don't usually see clients, but I took her right away because of what she was going through. She just shared with me her son stole her car. And he parted it out because he's on drugs. She had to find a ride. So we had a very vulnerable senior who didn't know what to do and called us because PSE referred her to us. And the next day, she just sat in the chair next to me and cried. So that's our community. We serve our seniors. I guess I just have a heart for seniors too, because of my parents' situation. But in October and November, we serve seniors only. We go out to a lot of seniors apartment buildings. We go as far east as Marble Mount for very high vulnerable people in that East County area. And when they say to you, and they always call you honey, doesn't matter, they always call you honey, and they'll grab your hand and just say, oh, honey, thank you so much. I get to turn on my heat. Think about that. You get to turn on your heat because you now come for assistance.
So I just want to emphasize this part of it. So one of the challenges with energy assistance is it's a terrific resource. There's a lot of resource there, but it does take a little bit of time. So somebody might call or go online and make their appointment today, but they're going to get that appointment with you next month. And so as a caseworker, what should we be telling folks? How can I reassure people about the process, that it's okay to wait? What should they do in the meantime? Because this will, if they do qualify, it will take care of that bill for them. But how do you coach somebody through that waiting period?
Well, I'll just use her as an example. She was up for disconnect. If somebody calls and they're in the situation where they're up for disconnect, we go into their PSE account and we can see that. They're in the disconnect queue, and PSE is disconnecting. We see our disconnect individuals. That's why I was able to see her right away at 9 o'clock if we have appointments available the next morning. But for those who are just behind, they're not up for disconnect. When we go in and schedule, it actually puts what they call a dunning lock. It's a hold on the account. They'll still get the communication from PSE, their bills, they'll still see what they owe and things like that, but they are not up for disconnect because we have put a lock on it. And from that appointment date, so let's say we can't make an appointment because we're booked completely for June, and on July 15th, we can make them an appointment. There's a lock that goes out 3 weeks past July 15th. To make sure that we can get all our work done, get the correct documentation, and get them help. So even though we put the hold on now, it'll stop it now, plus 3 weeks out. So it's quite a long, and PSE sees that because they work with us and they see energy assistance on the account. And so
but we don't ever want to tell a person that they don't have to pay their bill.
Bills. That's correct.
We want to let them know that if they are able to pay even a small, tiny little bit on their bill to PSE, to continue to do that, because that also shows Puget Sound Energy that they are trying to pay.
So
their
I
bill.
can only, maybe I can, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I've got too many bills. I've got lots of bills to pay. You're telling me that I will probably be getting this energy assistance in a month or so. But I should prioritize even paying $2 or $5 or $10 on that bill to show good faith that I'm intending to pay the bill.
If
So
they
we
can.
should, if they can.
That's
Now, this
correct.
is one of the reasons that energy assistance is so important, is it helps pay the energy assistance bill, but it helps then free up that income for that family to pay other things. So this is one of many ways that community actions wraparound services help folks, right? So when you're working with somebody, you're looking to maximize the amount of income that can stay in that household so they can get their other bills paid. What are some of the other community action or outside community action, community services that you help connect folks to? They might come in thinking that you're going to help with the energy bill. What might they get in addition to utility assistance?
So when they come into our office, if they have not been signed up for SNAP benefits, we can help them sign up for those benefits. We can refer them to the weatherization program, to possibly get their homes weatherized if they own their home. even if they rent their home, they can still contact the weatherization program because they can also work with landlords that can help weatherize rentals. We connect them with all the other resources that Community Action has to offer if they're in need of other things that we offer within the agency.
So signing up for basic food,
Yep.
for maybe that senior, a referral to our volunteer services to senior and disabled program, veterans, Skagit Vets Connect. So you're really looking, it's not just a transactional relationship where you do or don't pay a bill. You're really looking at what are all of the ways that we can help this household make their ends meet and reach their goals.
Yeah.
So you mentioned renters, and we got a good question from Community Action Board member Christina Soltero from Burlington Edison School District. Does the person requesting assistance have to have their name on the utility bills or the lease? For example, a doubled up family. Can the person renting a room request assistance, or who is the assistance for?
So that's a tricky question, because some of our programs require the name being put on the bill, some of them do not. If our programs do and they don't have their name on the bill, we always ask them to just be put on as a co-customer. So that way they are still responsible for the bill. It shows that they are responsible for the bill if they're a co-customer. If they are renting a room in a home and they all use the same heating source and utility source, every single person that lives in that home would have to be on the application.
So the assistance would go to the person whose name is on the bill, but everyone living in the household, their income or situation would be added into the full picture of whether or not that household gets assistance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I just wanted to mention, when Debbie was talking about how much a person could qualify, if a person qualified for the maximum of every program we have, which we have a lot of people who do, they could walk out of our agency with $6,225.
Get out. Say that again.
If a person qualifies for the maximum amount of what we offer, of all the programs that we offer, they could walk out with $6,225. And we have
a
served
$600 air conditioner.
and a $600 air conditioner on top of that. And we have served many households who have walked out with all of that as credits, paying off past due bills, all of that on their Puget Sound Energy and Cascade Natural Gas accounts.
Okay, so now we know that this is wonderful. And I'm going to show another picture here. A family who took pictures and gave permission to share. This is an example of the difference it makes in a household's life. Here's a child, and written on the chalkboard says energy assistance helps our family buy school supplies for our family. So it helps them save money for other things that they really need. And so we know that's wonderful. And we also know that there's a lot of hoops to jump through. There's all these documents, it can be, it takes a little bit of time, as Debbie was saying. It can take several weeks to get everything together. It is a government program, but our staff is really trying to help people qualify. You're not there to be a gatekeeper to try to keep people out. You're trying to find every way to help people qualify that is legal and within the rules. And so that's great. It's helpful. But, I've got this old-fashioned image of energy assistance. Back in my day, there was a literal line of people outside the door of energy assistance programs. When we needed help, we had to line up for that one day a month to go in and try to get an appointment. And if we're lucky, we got an appointment for next month. So, people aren't actually having to line up outside of energy. Can they call every day?
They can call we have evolved. Big time. They can call every day to schedule an appointment. Yes, that appointment is currently being scheduled in July. But as Debbie said, we have ways to work with our utilities to put holds on accounts. That shouldn't stop a person from coming in and applying and getting on getting an appointment. We are sending out reminder calls. We are trying our best to remind everybody of their appointments because they are scheduled out a ways. Puget Sound Energy sends text messages and emails to people who schedule through the website, and everybody that we schedule gets scheduled through the website.
And folks don't have to just come in. I want to acknowledge Miranda from Helping Hands put in the chat. I work with a participant who has mental health barriers to going into public places. Community Action Energy Assistance comes to her home to complete an application every year. That's probably some through our Seniors and Disabled program. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. People who need a home visit due to medical necessity, or they're just seniors and are homebound, we can access our Senior and Disabled program to go out and get signatures and documentation for us, and then we will complete the files and all of that. We also will do phone appointments. So people, if it is absolutely necessary and they can't come into our office, we will do a phone appointment with a client. We'll call them up over the phone. We'll do the whole application over the phone with them. We'll mail out the application for their signature, or show up at their house with Senior and Disabled and get a signature. With those types of cases, that does require them to send their documentation to us ahead of time, so we can complete that file at the time when we're calling them on the phone. So it does require a little bit more work than just showing up to our office to have an appointment.
And Debbie mentioned that there's a season. Your program is seasonal. Your program year starts up in October, right? And
Yes.
At the beginning of the season, you prioritize seniors, and your staff actually gets up and takes all your equipment and goes out into the community. What are some of the places that you go to try to help people get access to this service?
So we serve our seniors at local senior apartments. There's, I think, 6 of them we go to each year in Mount Vernon and Cedar Woolley and Burlington and Anacortes. We also go out to Anacortes to serve all of our seniors. There's an Anacortes Resource Center now, so we are hoping that we will be able to utilize that space come October when we're out in Anacortes to serve our Anacortes seniors who live in their own homes and not at the senior apartment there. We do go to the senior apartment directly, but there are other ones. We also go as far east as Marble Mount, and we go out to Marble Mount and spend an entire day out there serving all of the residents of Marble Mount, not just seniors, but anybody who lives in Marble Mount, Rockport area. They can come to us on that day that we go out there, and that's in October as well. We hit East County for seniors. And then throughout the year, we serve all of our East County residents. We try to utilize the East County office where clients can come in there. They can send their documentation to us from there. They don't have to travel. So this is
Community Action's East County Resource Center in Concrete.
Yes, they don't have to travel all the way down here to have an appointment. We will do a phone appointment with them, but utilize the East County Resource Center to get signatures and documentation from our clients up there.
So again, if the folks on this call are working with clients who could benefit from this, the main takeaway is don't worry about pre-qualifying yourself. If you think you're in the target range, call Energy and they will make sure that they do what they can to help see if you qualify. And then also just encouraging everyone to actually do it, because I remember a story from last year or the year before where you went to a senior housing facility and there were maybe 100 households in the senior facility and only 50 of them showed up to apply. Like by definition, all of them would qualify. And we're scratching our heads, and it's like, hey, this is free money. Why are people not applying for this? And it seemed to be two things. One is that people in Skagit County are so generous, right? And they said, oh, somebody else needs it more than I need it. I don't want to take a community resource. You know, I'm just fine. And we know that those are struggling seniors who could probably have, would benefit from having a little bit of money in their savings account. So there's the generosity piece of it. And the answer to that one is, but we're all paying for this anyway. If we've paid our energy bill for 50 years, there's a little bit of money every month that's going into this pot so that when we need it, it's there. So it's not a handout. It's something that we've all paid into. So that's one thing. And then the other piece of it is there is just that stigma, right? Of asking for help, of signing up for programs. And so how do we help people overcome those things? What would you say, Misty or Debbie, to encourage folks to apply if they're reluctant to apply?
Well, I had a lady yesterday. I said, well, it's better than zero. Because when she called right off, I knew she wouldn't qualify for LIHEAP or WEAF. But she was real reluctant because she said, well, she said that, why, I've never done this. Somebody else may need it more than I do. And I said, well, that may be, that's how she felt. And I couldn't, discount that. And I said, yes, but we're here to assist you too. You maybe, you can do something else, maybe if she wanted to help somebody. And she kind of looked at me and she goes, you know what, I could get a credit and maybe I could help my friend or something. I mean, people's thoughts when it comes to that, you just don't know. And I just said, well, you qualify, you're more than welcome to, let's finish this application because, if you don't, you're going to get zero. And wouldn't you like a credit on your account? Because she paid monthly. But she just was embarrassed because she felt like she was taking away from others. And I said, you know what? It's here for everybody. We're all on the same ground. And she signed up and that was that. But, that was true. She felt that she shouldn't be taking it from people.
And my response to that is we have enough money
to go
to
around,
give out to everybody who qualifies in the community. So if somebody is embarrassed, we just try to work with them and get them to understand we don't want to call it a hand out. We want to call it a hand up. If they need the assistance, if they can use their money that they're saving to buy food for the home. Maybe they don't qualify for food stamps, they don't have enough people in the home and they make just a little bit more money than they could use that money to buy food that they just need.
Or save for a rainy day when there's an emergency.
Yeah.
So what about, it makes sense to me that, I qualify and now I get this credit on my bill. But what if I heat with wood? How does that work? Like if I'm working with a senior or somebody up in East County who's a little bit off the grid and their main source of heat is wood, how do you help them?
So we serve wood with our LIHEAP program. So we're going to qualify them for their wood assistance. They get a check in the mail directly paid to them. They can purchase their wood anywhere they want. They can do whatever, buy it from whoever. They get a good deal from their neighbor up there. And it's half off of what you would normally pay somewhere else. They could go to that person and buy their wood. If we have seniors that we are working with and their appointment, they just haven't gotten their firewood yet, but they are out of firewood, we're going to make a referral to senior and disabled who has a firewood program that can take that person a cord of wood or a half a cord of wood and get them through until their wood check comes in the mail for them. We are also going to serve that person with Puget Sound Energy Help and get them help on their electric bill if they have one. They don't have an electric bill, well, then they don't qualify for that program. But we are going to get them all of the assistance that they do qualify for.
What about if somebody's living in an RV? Are you able to help with utilities if somebody is not living in a brick and mortar home?
Yeah, so anyone living in an RV usually heats their RV with propane. They can come in, they can get help if they qualify for our LIHEAP program. We can give them a credit at one of our vendors where they can go directly to our vendor and they can get their tanks filled up and until their money runs out. We have lots of propane customers and lots of customers that live in RVs. If they don't have an address and say they just are living on the side street somewhere, that's okay too. We have a form they can fill out. We just need their VIN number of their RV on the form, and they'll qualify for the LIHEAP program. They don't have to have an actual residence, like physical address. If they're living in an RV, we have a form that we can fill out to bypass that information.
And one of the questions that we got in the registration was about small businesses. Is this something that's just for residential homeowners and renters, or do businesses qualify for energy assistance?
Unfortunately, we cannot serve energy assistance to any commercial properties. So if they are a business and it's a commercial meter, we cannot serve them. So it is only for residential.
But for small business owners, if they've got a home, they would qualify just like everyone else. And
Yes.
and of course, energy assistance is one of Community Action's many programs that we're trying to promote to employers, because anything we can do to help households stabilize and pay their bills helps them be better employees. They're more reliable, they're less stressed, their families are doing okay. So we do see this as a benefit to employers to help spread the word. It's now 9:53 and there's lots more questions I have, but I'm just going to pause here. Does anybody in the group want to take yourself off mute and ask a question or share something with Misty and Debbie? Any other questions?
I have a question. It's a little specific, but I'd be curious to know if there's more information that would be helpful. In the case of somebody having an outstanding PSE bill and they moved to another residence, would there be a program available to them? I'm just curious to learn more about, in the event of somebody moving to another residence, but their previous residence still owes a PSE bill, what would be helpful for them?
So unfortunately, if it is a closed account, and oftentimes when they move to a new residence, they close the old account, we cannot serve on a closed account with Puget Sound Energy. So
Okay.
my suggestion would be, if anybody is looking to move in the future, in future months, and they have a bill and they do qualify for our program, to contact us prior to them moving out. Like say they're planning on moving next month, they should call us and let us know. We will try to get them in for an appointment as soon as we can. But also if they are moving to a new residence and they are going to have a bill in their name there, they should still come in and apply, because if they've moved, because they're going to get help with that future, all those future bills, and they could then essentially use the money that they would be saving on paying their bills on that old bill. And they can set
Okay.
up payment arrangements with Puget Sound Energy on those old bills. And the good thing with Puget Sound Energy is, yes, they have their own in-house collection, and they don't report it from what I have been told to collection agencies. It's not something that's going to get sent off to a collection agency to be collected on. It is pretty much a write-off for Puget Sound Energy on past bills that people don't owe on. And Puget Sound Energy will set up any kind of payment arrangements on those that the people can pay $10 a month until it's paid off. It's called prior obligation.
So, and the big takeaway here for coaching our clients is communicate. if they're making a good faith effort, if they're asking for a payment plan, if they're just putting a couple dollars a month towards that bill, it looks good. And Puget Sound Energy is pretty good about working with folks on that. And again, if those kinds of questions come up, refer them to energy assistance, and our team will coach your client on their options. And it really is not just help getting a bill paid, but it's financial education, financial coaching. It's coaching on how to be a good tenant. Any other questions for our energy and utility assistance team? Well, I just want to thank everyone who shared those heartwarming stories in the chat. I hope that our team, Isabel and Josh, you grabbed some of those, because we love those kinds of stories. And again, the big takeaway here is when in doubt, refer folks to energy assistance, and our team will figure it out. And they're friendly. How many languages does your team speak, Misty?
Currently, we have English and Spanish speakers within our department. So, and we have mastered the use of Google Translate for Ukrainian customers, Russian customers, and any other speaker, different language speaker out there that that come into our service. We are going to serve them. We are going to figure out a way. And I have one story. It was amazing. Trina, one of our employees, the other day had a Ukrainian customer calling. We couldn't understand. We couldn't speak back and forth, but she got our email address to this lady, somehow was able to communicate the email address. They emailed back and forth, and Trina Google translated. It took her about 6 hours to help this family, but she completed an entire appointment over Google Translate.
Well, rock on, energy and utility assistance. We're so happy for how you're helping to stabilize lives and equip people to get ahead on their goals. It's really uplifting what you're doing, and we appreciate so much how you're making a change in people's lives. So thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who is here today. And yeah, rock on, Trina. All right. We've got a note in the chat. Refer anybody that might qualify for OIC program services. If you need program information, thank you there, Julissa. All right. Well, have a good day, everyone.